my new hat my husband got me. It's freaking awesome. Made by Krisher. I don't know what that means, but I saw it and I just was like, oh, I want that hat. It looks so happy. I don't know if I approve of all the junk food on it, but the marijuana leaves definitely. It's just a happy hat. Good morning and welcome to another edition of Wake and Bake News with your host, Shampoo VTA, Kelly Davis. This is episode number 16, June 10th, on a Wednesday. Had to think. Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday. So I got some lovely buds here to smoke upon with you. Alrighty. Our rain passed through. It rained pretty steadily. I had something rooting around in my garden last night, probably looking for worms. Found little holes dug in my garden, which is good for the garden. As long as this little animal doesn't dig up plants, I'm fine. To the first bowl. Don't put the lid on. Show you. One of these days I'm going to spill coffee all over the computer. Oop. The lid on so we don't have spilliness. I washed my cup yesterday all the way through. Usually I just rinse it. And I just took these off, right? And then ran hot water and soap and stuff through the middle. That's pretty easy. You could also I've done salt and alcohol, so you can, clean it pretty easily. Ooh, it is hot this morning. The Wake and Bake mug is hot. Okay, what have we done now? I set something down on my computer and it changed on me. Okay. Let's go to El Monitor Capture and begin our news day. The first news story that I wanted to share with you was one I found yesterday. La Jolla millionaire goes for Denver green. As you can see in this picture, he's in a radio studio and he's dressed in some very funny looking marijuana leaf shirt and Rastafarian hat, and I do hope that this fashion will improve. So much of this gear has been novelty. This hat, novelty, and I sure would like to see some marijuana fashion come along that's not novelty. Not that the novelty stuff isn't adorable, it is, but we're going to move past this, right, sometime. I'm not going to go to a store and there's going to be still novelty marijuana leaves everywhere. I'd like to see real fashion actually start to happen sometime. That's right, I lived through Prohibition. You would catch the smoke, put it back in your mouth. Okay. La Jolla millionaire goes for Denver green. Marc Paskin aims to cash in on pot ads via Colorado radio station. La Jolla publicity maven Marc Paskin, kind of sounds like Snake Plissken, doesn't it? Marc Paskin has remade himself into a Pied Piper of pot on the public airwaves, and he says he will eventually do the same in San Diego. Published reports have said Paskin amassed a $100 million real estate empire, starting with a complex he bought while he was in college. It sounds perfectly reasonable to me. I mean, what's wrong with that? Well, it makes it sound like a crime. This is where like the independence comes out in me, because you can hear the liberal side and the, hey, why can't the guy flip and buy property from the time he's in college and make money? What's wrong with that? The Madison, Wisconsin-born Paskin moved to Solana Beach I'm sure I didn't say that, Solana Beach in the 1980s, then La Jolla 15 years ago. Local media jumped on Paskin's activities when he appeared on a 2011 episode of ABC's TV's Secret Millionaires, where he gave away $125,000 to Detroit charities. He got more attention when he bought a billboard in Barrio Logan looking for a Latina girlfriend in 2012. And did you find her? Was that effective? I mean, whatever, if it works. While Paskin's 65 does not personally proclaim to benefit to proclaim the benefits of marijuana, he saw a business opportunity when a handful of states made marijuana legal for recreational consumption. He rented an apartment in Denver, the biggest market he could find in a legal state, and realized his dream to own a radio station. So this is why the clowny outfit, because he doesn't actually smoke weed, he's just jumping on board. I think that's going to make feelings with some of us stoners, is like, we don't want pretend people supporting us because there's money in it. That's going to be a treacherous waters, to have to worry about. I hope his intentions are good. Let's see. 2 weeks ago, Paskin launched America's first FM radio station celebrating the 420 lifestyle with Smokin' 94.1, Denver's cannabis-centric classic rock station. He says he spent $875,000 to buy an underperforming AM/FM sports station outside of Denver and change its call letters to K-Bud. See, there's nothing wrong with any of that. That's brilliant. I can't even slight the guy for not being a pot smoker and jumping on this. I want to have a radio station. Not that I listen to the radio a lot, but I'd like to have I'm looking for marijuana-centric things that make me happy, like this hat. What an excellent story. So that's our first story. I won't read the whole thing, but apparently this guy is the dude that went to Denver and bought the radio station there and was starting this cannabis-centric 420 lifestyle. I don't know what to say about that. Whose idea of 420 lifestyle? Like original stoner's idea of 420 lifestyle, modern stoner's idea of 420 lifestyle, or 20 years from now, what's 420 gonna mean? Is it gonna be like, the 4th of July? It's like we celebrate independence on 420. Trying to just contain that smoke as long as I can to enjoy it. Gosh, I love my hat. Thank you, honey. See, I like happy things, like my happy pipe. Isn't that happy? Okay. Pay attention to what you're doing. Don't get distracted. Oh, my son posted that. I think it's like a silver-plated surfboard, or I mean skateboard, surfboard. Listen to me. Skateboard, this was funny. Motivation. That's right. Okay. State reports suggest that marijuana legalization could save Colorado and California, and I'll read the rest as soon as this thing loads. Prison costs. June 9th, 2015. This is actually from yesterday. Oh my gosh, take your time loading. It's not like we're all aging here or anything. A new state report suggests California could cash in on the state's legalized recreational marijuana. Some in the medical marijuana industry are concerned that if it is criminalized, the focus could fall on profits instead of patients. Shinora, with a River City Phoenix medical marijuana dispensary in Sacramento, is concerned how an initiative sent to the Attorney General's office may affect her client's medical treatment. First and foremost, I think the patients should come before anybody else, before recreational users, she said, especially when you've got such a captive audience there and you can pretty much charge whatever you want. You know, why have recreational, you know, cutting you in on you, especially with low-grade weed, if it's going to be low-grade. The state's legislative analyst office says the proposal would allow people 21 and older to legally possess, sell, transport, process, and cultivate marijuana with some restrictions. The report says California could add millions of dollars to state coffers if it legalized marijuana by reducing the number of marijuana offenders in prison and jails, reducing probation supervision costs. Probation officers. Oh yes, there are a lot of them. And oh boy, do they saunter around and take their lovely time. You know, urine testing. I've seen this activity and I wondered, boy, that looks like a real interesting job with decent money and security. Imagine, here I am working in education, watching these probation officers walk onto my campus and pretty much take over and tell people what to do and, you know, have me open rooms and doors for them and they get to take over rooms and oh my goodness. Yeah. I would like to have less of those people in my life. Not that they're in my life, but in the job I used to work at, that was just annoying. It was annoying. They were helping the children, right? But they were also kind of, man, it was like having a little police force come on your campus, you know, every once in a while. And they had little, not even like official outfits. They were just kind of like little black costumes with big belts, you know, wannabe police officers. It should have said, you know, staff on the back of their shirt or something. Like, it looked like guys at a concert, unidentified security, who the hell are you, kind of thing. Or parole officers. P officers. That's what you are. You're P officers. Urine officers is what I used to call them. Don't get me started. First and foremost, I think the patients should come first. We already read that. The report says California could add millions of dollars to state coffers. We already read that. The report also says it could bring unexpected costs with the potential increase in state-funded rehabilitation programs. Ridiculous. How could rehabilitation programs cost anything when you charge everyone for anything you make them do? Any court costs, any legal fees, any processing fees. If you are having an anklet, urine test, you're probably paying out of pocket for that. What the hell are you talking about? It's a business. We make the people that we do this to pay for the stuff we do to them. We're literally making them pay room and board in a jail. How could that possibly, you know, cost less than rehabilitation. That's ridiculous. Schwerner's biggest concern is wannabe entrepreneurs taking the low road to make a buck. Oh yeah, like alcohol doesn't have that all over the place. Please stop with this. Are they going to put the same care and concern behind it, or are they going to be kind of mass produce it and get there just to make a profit from it? She said, just to make a profit. Here again, when the hell did making money ever become a crime? It's what you do with the money. If you're a dick and you don't help anybody and you don't help your community and you're just like selfish butt, well then, maybe the villagers should come with pitchforks and fire and burn you out or something. But if you're not doing anything wrong and you're helping people, then what the fuck are you hassling that person for? We need those businesses. And also, yeah, you're going to have guys try to make money. I'm sorry, when was that not the American way? What? I don't remember growing up in that country. Oh, don't make a shameless dollar. Any way you can. Let's see, what I was brought up with is the guy that comes up with the best idea wins. The one that makes the best mousetrap, you know, that a pauper could be president. That is what is great about this country. What that article is telling me is this lady is afraid of the kinds of people that might be able to make money off of this and rise like cream to the top of the coffee. That's what she's freaking afraid of. It can be an instantaneous road for people to become successful. That their prohibition would actually skyrocket people into empires. And it terrifies them. Tough shit, you made this. You know, deal with it. Guy, make your bed, lie in it. There's just a lot of children living on this planet with me. Marijuana legalization, 2015 EPA issue guidance on marijuana pesticides amid industry uncertainty. Okay, so the EPA has just given guidelines on pesticides, which is really good. I think that's great. When he was, as long as it's not unreasonable, but, you know, pesticides are not great. What was that? When he was managing a 3,500 plant medical marijuana grow facility in Denver, Adam Coe would have his staff thoroughly inspect. Oh my goodness, I see. There's something playing on this page that I must kill. Where is it? I'll just kill this. See, it's trying to play. This is once again this advertising thing. What is the matter with them? Let me check my audio. Okay. You know, advertisers really, you don't even care that you annoy the crap out of us. You're all just going to be wiped off the earth. You know this, right? We're going to figure out a way to inoculate ourselves against advertising. I should have ad blocker, but that stuff just makes my computer jack up even more. Everything load even slower. Let's see. When he was managing his 3,500 plant medical marijuana grow facility in Denver, Adam Coe would have his staff thoroughly inspect his crops several times a week for signs of infestation. Tiny bite marks on the cannabis leaves could mean 2 spotted spider mites were piercing the plant's skin and sucking up nutrients. Small piles of what looked like powdered sugar would be the beginning of a mildew incursion. Coe opted for natural crop management options, so if his staff spotted a problem, he'd isolate the infected plants or use organic pest control options. But a few times, when the infestation was out of hand, he'd destroy an entire grow room plants to start again. That option wasn't cheap. The flower room held 164 plants. And if he ever lost a whole crop in there, he could have been out 75 pounds of cannabis, which by the going rate for retail marijuana would mean $250,000 down the drain. It's like any crop, except this is like the crop, you know. We subsidize a lot of farmers because of this very thing. But this is the most expensive crop of all. Oh, where are we going? Come on. Calm down there. Calm down there, friend. I know you just are dying to show me whatever that stupid commercial is. Co-opted for... I read that. Okay, let's get past this. I don't know what this is. Needs to go away. Making everything lag. Everything's just lagging. Go, please go away. Oh my God, did I invite you in my house? No, that was X. So rude. Advertisers are the rudest people ever. Coe wasn't surprised that some of his colleagues would do anything they could to save an infested crop, even use pesticides that weren't approved for marijuana use. You hear about things where really intense chemical products were being used right before harvest to save a crop, he says. I unfortunately don't think it's uncommon. It's one of the reasons he got out of the grow management business and now works for Comprehensive Cannabis Consulting, helping clients nationwide set up sustainable, all-natural marijuana grows. I didn't want to be associated with what I was hearing, says Coe. The legal marijuana industry is plagued by upheaval and over pesticide use in a business depending on the health and vigor of a single plant. The lack of guidance over what kind of cannabis pest control measures are appropriate has left growers struggling to safeguard crops as they try to appease regulators and the public. In recent months, tens of thousands of marijuana plants have been quarantined in Colorado over concerns they were dosed in dangerous chemicals. Protesters in the state are picketing marijuana shops, claiming consumer health is at risk. And business owners are claiming that if the status quo continues, crops worth hundreds of thousands of dollars could sicken and die. Under that situation, technically, any kind of pesticide that can be used on cannabis, so we have had a Wild West when it comes to pesticides. By now, for the first time, some relief for growers is on the horizon. The Environmental Protection Agency is offering a process through which pesticides could be approved for cannabis in states where medical and recreational marijuana is legal. By applying to register certain cannabis-related products as a special local need, as defined under Section 24C of the Federal Insecticide, Fungus, and Rodenticide Act, the marijuana industry could have a comparatively swift and cheap way to obtain appropriate pest control options without running afoul of federal law. I think it is a very positive sign, says Mitch Yegert, director of the Colorado Department of Agriculture, CDA, Division of Plant Industry, who received the letter from the EPA detailing the process on May 19th. It allows us to move forward in a very normal manner on pesticides for marijuana, just like any other crop. I think it is a huge step forward for the EPA and for the industry and us. Wow, that's really interesting. Pesticides are really an important issue. Gosh, not these stupid ads. Seriously, you are just trying to sell me some car that's not self-driving right now. in this day and age. Please go away. Please go away, old people. Well, it's really exciting that the EPA is doing something. See, that really shows that it's inevitable, I think. You know, they're realizing this is just going to happen. Divisionary Post Part 1, last week's article on the Huffington Post, features two of my girlfriends, and one of them is quite exciting. Access to one's state of pleasure is a fundamental human right. Huh. Does this go to an article? See, in 1969 we put a man on the moon. In 1982 we invented the internet. In 1998 we discovered the full anatomy of the clitoris. Explore. I don't know if I want to. You mentioned clitoris. Very interesting article, I guess, about pleasure here in the Huffington Post. I just thought that the image was really nice. Little did I know. Okay. Is it because that girl was arrested for having an orgasm too loud? They should have given her an award. What are you talking about? Medical marijuana might be on the November 2016 ballot. Is that fear again? Somebody's afraid. Somebody out there is afraid. Somebody's peeking through a curtain. Look at this. Look what they've got doing over there now. Gotta stop it. Gotta make it stop. Oh my god, I can hear her having an orgasm. Call the police. There's always one of those. There's always one of those peeking out the curtain. What's happening? I'm afraid. What are they doing now? Medical marijuana might be on the November 2016 ballot in South Dakota. South Dakota Attorney General releases an explanation on medical marijuana measure. South Dakota. The AG's explanation states that the measure, if approved by voters, would legalize medical use of marijuana. Blah, blah, blah. To view the Attorney General's explanation for the measure, as well as the final form of the measure submitted to this office, please click on the link below. The explanation will be on petitions that the measure's sponsor will circulate if they get at least 13,000 valid voter signatures. It's more like 13,871 by November 8th. That's pretty close. That's a low number, but that date's pretty close. To get it on the 2016 ballot. They still have time, but you'd have to really push that. South Dakota voters said no in 2010 on legalizing medical marijuana. However, the debate won't go away and could be back on the ballot in 2016. Where do you stand on legalizing marijuana for medical or recreational use? Legalize recreational use is 54%. 1,262. That's pretty damn good. Yep. So the states are starting to roll in. They're getting in their covered wagons. They know probably sometime in the near future somebody's going to be firing off that gun and everybody's going to be on the marijuana land race. Gotta get me a homestead in the marijuana land race. Like an old western, man. They know the land race is coming. They've dealt with it before. That's how we got these states. That's what a lot of growers are afraid of. They know that's coming. You can't stop that. That's like, oh, look, I found paradise, but it's all for me. Yeah, it's unrealistic to even think you can try to stop that. Ask a rancher if he could stop the other ranchers from moving into his territory. Nope. Alrighty then. That was our final story for this morning. Oh no, I'm sorry, I had two more. My final marijuana story. I had two more regular newsy news type stories. So I misspoke. That's my explanation. I'm sticking with it. Okay. New York PD Chief Bratton says hiring black officers is difficult. So many have spent time in jail. I mean, I don't even like reading that. It pisses me off so much. Look at the sea of blue here. And yeah, a lot of them are white. I like how they are just here. Look at the photograph. It just tells a story. Like over here. There's like 2 black guys, 3 black guys. Here, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? This person's possibly Latina or something. And then butthole full of white people, another black person. So like here, like kind of merging into this group of white male faces. These guys actually look like the same person. I mean, a lot of these guys look like the same guy. Ever notice that they like the male officers and they all like them to look the same, like it's, you know, Star Wars, like they're Boba Fett's, like they're clones or something. It's just weird what they do to the police. It's weird the way they make them into a pattern like that. That is not normal. It's just not normal. It's not normal to do that to a person. It must make your head all poo poo poo. Hiring more non-white officers is difficult because so many would-be recruits have criminal records. The New York Police Commissioner Bill Bratton has said, "We have a significant population gap among African American males because so many of them have spent time in jail, and as such, we can't hire them." Bratton said in an interview with The Guardian, police departments responding to widespread protests against several high-profile police killings of black men are boosting efforts to recruit more non-white officers, but budget restrictions, strained relations between police and minority communities, and, according to Bratton, a history of indiscriminate policing tactics that disappropriately targeted blacks and Latino men complicate the department's goal of racial parity. Bratton blamed the unfortunate consequences of an explosion in stop, question, and frisk incidents that caught many young men of color in a net by resulting in them being given a summons for a minor misdemeanor. As a result, Bratton said the population pool of eligible non-white officers is much smaller than it might ordinarily have been. Sounds like you're going to have to change some rules then, doesn't it? Sounds like we're going to have to bend the rules a little bit to, I'm sorry, just like with our troops, we had to lower the bar a little. What's it saying? Beggars can't be choosers. Let's see. The application process to join the New York Police Department includes, among other things, a complete criminal background check, which makes perfect sense, right? Is this just a blind background check where they just go, guilty, guilty? Or do they like really kind of say, well, what really happened with this person? Maybe we're turning down somebody who's valuable because of this ridiculous guilty, you know. Who are they today? You know, not who they were then. Convicted felons are automatically disqualified from the New York PD application pool, as well as anyone guilty of a domestic violence charge or who has been dishonorably discharged from the military. And that a dishonorable discharge could be a simple drug, offense. You drank a bunch of cough syrup and got caught or something in the military. Anyway, this is just a really catch-22, annoying, aggravating article about how the New York PD is caught in this, issue. It seems like a loop. It's a Mobius, a loop in time. It's a strange phenomenon called a Mobius, where they're just gonna loop, like since the 60s, 70s, the 80s, the 90s, they're just gonna loop. It's a program. Look at it. If it's a pattern, okay? If these human beings are put into a pattern, and you see an overabundance of white, particularly male faces, okay, let's say, then don't you think that pattern, that program is not acting in a way that's going to cause it? It's like got a cancer or something, It's got too much of one thing, not enough of the other. So the program, is going to fail. So you could see it. It's going to fail. And it can't succeed because it's stuck in a Mobius, a loop. It can't ever get out of. Because it creates its own police force by arresting the people it doesn't want in the police force. It's a loop in time. The headline alone just pisses you off. It's just like, who? We just allowed this to happen? Was this somebody's idea or a combination of all the above? Exactly how did our human stupidity play into these events? I'd love to know. Okay, majority of Americans now say that gay marriage is inevitable, which does not mean we're all inevitably going to be gay married. Although I hope and pray for my son one day, he will meet the right person. Majority of Americans say same-sex marriage is inevitable. I remember when it became a question, when it was like, well, do I care about that? And Christians telling me, no, it's not, it's blah, 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 the things that they tell you about how it's not in the Bible and blah, 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 blah. But it's funny how when you actually read stuff that Jesus said, it's not exactly like they're making out. I think the scenario was something like Jesus seems to like to draw in the sand a lot. I don't know if this was a character trait of his. He was a frustrated artist, but it just seems like he's always drawing something with a stick in the sand. Makes me question the authenticity of these stories. So he's drawing in the sand. Dude rolls up on him. Now he's going to test Jesus on what's up. So you think you all rabbi and shit up in here? And he's like, okay, so ask me your question 3. And other side, ask me your question 3. So this guy who's part of the organized Jewish religion that he was competing with, basically in a political realm, because he was questioning people's ability to access the church, because at the time you could not enter the church if you were unclean. And what he was trying to do was allow people to get into the frickin' baths so they could get clean, so they could get up into the church, because that's the old way they used to block people from accessing success. They would make this, stars upon Mars rule. Well, I'm sorry, you didn't go bathe in the special bathtub, right? So even then, back then, this guy rolls up on him and he's testing it, and he's like, well, is this wrong for one dude to lay with another dude, right? And he's like, yes, this is sin against God and everything like this. Okay, stop right there. Let's examine what was going on at the time that Jesus was saying this. Were there gay couples skipping through the streets of Rome together. Hello, everyone, we're shopping. You know? No. Even though Caligula and all these movies make out like homosexuality was really super accepted, it was not accepted. And any adult man that would take the position of a female was not respected in Roman society. What was going on was it was child rape. Even Caesar himself had been drilled into the marble floor by his, captain over him, because that was, and the Spartans did it too. That was considered a way of making the man submissive to you. The young man is now submissive to his commanding officer because the commanding officer raped you. It's the ultimate humiliation, So what Jesus, I believe, was referring to was the Roman practice of raping children and keeping children as concubines. That's what I think. No Roman male, like no prison guy, would say, I'm gay. And yet, they would, somehow it's been tied in that this is a gay activity. But none of them, even back then, would be like, yes, I'm gay. That's why I keep all these little boys around me. No, this would be considered a way of showing your power. Look at all the children that now I own. I possess them. That's how I came to the conclusion that that Christian is all bullshit. They didn't actually read that book, and they're not actually paying attention to what was going on, because nobody was setting up household as a gay married couple in Jesus's time. Nobody around him. Nobody was like, la la la, Jesus, what do you think about us getting married? Never happened. He said that unions were fine. He even said that divorce was not the will of his father, but he could see sometimes it was better that the couple was divorced. Like, girl, get away from him. He's going to kill you. Okay. 72% believe it will inevitably be legalized, gay marriage. A record number of Americans now support the legalization of gay marriage, a new poll finds, but even more think it's inevitable. According to a Pew Research Center, a record 57% of Americans believe same-sex marriage should be legal, while 39% think it shouldn't. The number are widely divided by political affiliation. 65% of Democrats favor legalization compared to 34% of Republicans. Yeah, it's that Bible thing, that not getting it thing. Were the Romans engaging? There were Romans that had gay marriage, but they lived on the outskirts of town. It was it was like Hollywood. It was like, yeah, we know, but we don't talk about, But you weren't appearing before Caesar going, we're gay married. Okay, not if you wanted to live. Not if you didn't want to be banished to some island all by yourself. Oh my God. Let's see. Augustus Caesar actually got so pissed that everybody in his, Caesar kingdom was like Rome, was not getting married, that they were just having incestual relationships with everybody, that he got so fucking pissed that he commanded that people had to get married, that this was not allowed anymore to just go around romping off with people and, having sex unprotected and sleeping with everybody. Then later, his daughter got busted having big, huge soirees at her house where she would take on loads of soldiers and stuff like that. And there's a scene in Claudius where Augustus Caesar's walking around and he's going up to all these officials. You slept with my daughter too? No way would he have ever accepted gay marriage. So whatever these Republicans believe in their heads, I think is dead wrong. That is not what was going on in Jesus' time. That is not what Jesus was talking about. He was not talking about that. He was talking about Rome. Despite the difference, The survey notes that 72% of both parties agree it will eventually happen. That percentage is largely unchanged from 2013, but is way up from a Los Angeles Times survey in 2004 that put the figure at 59%. While support has increased from 49 to 59% among whites, in the last 3 years, African American support has remained low at 41, up to 40% in 2012. Same-sex marriage is currently legal in 36 states and the District of Columbia. The Supreme Court is expected to rule this month on state recognition of gay marriage licenses. No, great for them. What the hell's wrong with getting married? You're taking on responsibility. You'll probably, hopefully, choose to raise kids. You build wealth together. You'll contribute to society. You'll vote. The hell's wrong with that? Nothing. And think about what I said about what Jesus said. I think it's bunk that they're like going, no, he was totally against a couple settling down and having kids and paying taxes. No, I don't think that's what he said. I think he was talking about what was happening in Rome at the time, which was a horrible, ugly thing. And even some of the Caesars were like, you people need to calm the fuck down, man. Caligula had intercourse, married his sister. His sister became pregnant. He so feared his sister's child that he cut, because some god, he had seen some god did this, he cut the baby out and swallowed it whole, hoping that, like in this myth, this Greek myth, he would obtain the baby's strength, right? And I think actually that two of his kids, like in the story, the Greek story, like were born out of his mouth or something like this. But instead, Caligula just ended up murdering his sister and going crazy and having the worst meal ever, you know. I mean, come on. This is what these belief systems will end up making you into if you don't just get your head right, you know. Is that really what Jesus said? I don't think that's what he said. Not at all. I think if you went up to him and you said, hey, this couple would like to get married. They love each other. They've been together for years. They've suffered through all this stuff. They want to help their community. They want to be accepted. You know, they don't want to be separated in their old age because they're not a married couple. You know, they want to share each other's joys and tragedies. I have this feeling Jesus would have been, no, it's fine. You know. But if you said, hey, this Roman soldier, this Roman general wants to take a couple of children up to his palace for the weekend, Jesus would have been like, no. So I think that we're misreading everything that's going on. The other thing is, I think that it's this fear that dudes have, a primal fear that, yeah, some general is going to use this to subjugate you. And that's not what we're talking about at all, you know. You got to get over that. That's something else entirely different. That's a bizarre behavior. You know, a need to take on followers that you've somehow humiliated or owned in a way, and you've made yourself master over them, just physically. It's an entirely different thing than happy people getting married and wanting to raise kids and pay taxes, you dummies. It took me a while. I was like, well, I don't know. But then I went and read it, and I thought about it, and I'm like, wait a minute, how can this even be how come, you know, when we talk about Jesus, everything he says in the Bible is somehow about 2020, 2030. It isn't. That man was talking about very basic, you know, laws of logic. You know, just about all of what Christians call the red letter words are all perfect logic. Hey, don't be a dick. Hey, turn the other cheek. You know, don't steal that shit. Stop wanting that guy's wife. Knock that shit off. you know, simple, basic shit. And then everybody else came in. What happened was stupid Romans took over Christianity, and that's what the Roman Catholic Church is what's left over of Rome, and they all dress in dresses now, and they're all still as weird as they were back then. I'm sorry, but you are. Okay, so what happened was they had this like big meeting, and that's where stuff like the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost came from, and all this stuff, because they wanted to make this uniform sort of religion, and they couldn't make it out of the bits and pieces of tattered religion that they found laying around that the Christians left after they fed most of them to the lions, frankly. It was a political move. All the religions at the time were probably too powerful, so you're in the middle of a war. It's not the first time it was ever done. There was like an Egyptian guy, I can't remember his name, King Tut's dad. He did the same thing. He was like, yeah, all those old religions, forget that. We're going to move up the Nile, up the aisle. Sound like Ricky. You're going to move up the aisle. Set up a new kingdom. It's going to be all about this new sun religion, one God. We all like hanging out under them. And then even Christians tried to grab a hold of that. No, this is all just politics and the weird perversion that belief puts on politics is all. If you just listen to the basic stuff that I think Christ was talking about, it in itself is pretty magical. Hey, don't be a dick. What's that going to do for you? You know? It's just an amazingly magical statement. I don't think you need to be from God or heaven or ascend or, you know, be walking around, you know, Holy Spirit or any of this kind of stuff for that to have power. I think all by itself, that has pretty damn good power that I'm willing to listen to. I don't think I need the lights and magic show for that, you know. The ramble. I'm catching up with my coffee drinking. All right, back to the original screen. Let's get rid of this monitor capture so we can see the garden. Oh, let's see, 52 minutes. I don't know how these things end up so long. Is it me? My talking? I guess it is. Oh well. So thank you for joining me for this exciting and supporting gay marriage and a future for kids like my son, kids I worked with in the school. You know, I'll tell you about like transgender real quick. Okay, so here I am. I'm the guardian of the bathroom. Do not smoke marijuana in the bathroom. Do not make any sort of drugs in the bathroom. Do not hide drugs. Do not pass money. I'm checking after every person, right? That was my job. Okay, so you'd see like a group of girls and a dude come down the hallway and they're like, hey, you know, talking. La 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 la. Perfectly natural. You could see them flowing, giggling, talking. The dude fits right in. Okay. They even pass other homie groups and stuff and they're like, oh, that just creeps me out, man. Why? Because you're not as comfortable around women? So then they come towards me. And here's where our society begins this, like a knife, division of the. So here comes these kids, and there's a boys' bathroom and a girls' bathroom, and the girls all gravitate towards the girls, and the guy stand there by himself now with the same homies that don't like him. And that's why we needed to have, you know, co-ed bathrooms for guys like that, because that's not right. I could see it right there. I'm standing there. And you can see body language shifts. Okay, now I'm going to have to act like this because I no longer have the protection of the group of girls that I was around. I'm all by myself with these guys that are unsure about, you know, who I am and what this means and what it means for them. And they're nervous, scared. Their parents are telling them stuff at home. Don't allow this. If you see a guy, make sure to, you know, whatever, you know. And so that was another reason why we just let him in one at a time. Keep kids safe. Plus the tagging. If you don't want to have some painter at your school with the bathroom shut down for 2 weeks, taking his time painting over tags, like 3 times a year, you gotta put a guard outside the door. It just has to happen. I was a child. I loved to write on things too. I got what I deserved. I deserved to be out in front of those bathrooms. I used to write on the bathroom doors all the time. Oh boy, I deserved to do that job. It's funny to think that. Yeah, but like transgender and gay couples and stuff, even my mom was saying that it took her a while to get used to mixed race couples because that's not something she grew up with. That was an issue that they had to talk about. My parents were in college at a time when they were talking about, civil rights. They were very supportive of civil rights. But I mean, they're college kids in a white college in cornfields. They're as detached from that experience as they could get. All they could do is kind of root from afar. But I mean, we've always gone through these kinds of moments of acceptance. Like, okay, we're just not going to say stupid things anymore and try to... And I do it too. I'm always apologizing to my son because I'll go, oh my God, that's so gay. And then I'll go, okay, no more. No more. So all of us are growing, and it's okay. It's going to be a good world and everything's going to be fine. Don't freak out. One more hit. Don't freak out, guy. It's like, what is it? Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Don't panic. You're going to meet aliens. They might want to touch you with their tentacles. Don't freak out. Okay. So, once again, thank you for joining me for this babbly, once again, Wake and Bake News, and I'm your host, Shampoo VTA, and you stay high, and goodbye.